mercy, what a stop!
My goodness, what a save!
What a save! What a glove save there, but what a stop! Looked like a sure goal. You talk about an A-plus save and maybe the save of the night.
Welcome to the Goalie Science Podcast, where we break down the science of goaltending, coaching, and everything in between. I'm Dr. Jamie Phillips, former professional goalie, board-certified physical therapist, and goalie performance specialist, alongside my co-host, Derek Boujan, owner of Boujan Goaltending and On Ice Hockey Performance Center. Whether you're on your way to a game, gearing up for practice, or just tuning in, grab your favorite drink and let's drop the puck on this week's episode. Welcome to another episode of the Goalie Science Podcast. We are virtual. We have had two opportunities to do in-person podcasts. They haven't been true opportunities, but could you imagine if on the day of the wedding, I told Fran, I was like, babe, I gotta actually do a quick pod here with Bouge. Like, tell the photographer to hold up.
Yeah. Hold that shutter button. We have to talk hockey. But I think it was Friday around, I don't know, midnight, maybe 1 a.m. where you did say, let's get the mics out and start talking. And it's like, let's just not do that right now.
That was fun. Did you have fun? Because I had a lot of fun.
I had a lot of fun. I did. Yeah, it was very good. And it was like, I say to people, like, it was constantly teetering on like disaster. Like, we had rain, and then there's some bad news to somebody who was part of the wedding, like in the middle of the day. But I got, honest to God, man, like, your wife was so chill all day. You were so chill all day. And it was one of like the most smoothly run weddings I've ever been a part of, for sure, and been to. And Fran was just like dialed. Like, she knew everything what she wanted. And I just hope that we all were able to come together and give her like the day that she dreamed of. And she was happy, but it was, I had a lot of fun. The dance floor was buzzing.
The dance floor was buzzing. So Fran is so good at event planning. I want her, and she's talked about it, but like, she could do it like weddings. Like, she had that thing dialed. She planned everything, all of it, organized it, the rentals, everything. I literally did nothing. Not that anything I could have done would have helped contribute to that, but she had the whole thing. And then in terms of setup, like, she knew that on the wedding day, she was going to be getting pampered and all that stuff. So she had the binder for everyone and their set roles and what to do. So I really want her to get into like wedding event planning, because like you said, like, she would kill it and it would run so smooth. You are right. Now that you say that, like, we were really on the edge of disaster every time with some bad news, like rain, some people drinking more than others. Like, it was just, it went well. And I even on Fran, like, asked Fran, I was like, did you like it? She's like, yeah. I was like, I wish we could do that every weekend. But like, I know. I wish I was a billionaire, because just to be able to do that all the time with everybody, all my friends and family, it was a good time.
It was, and you know what, like, the Phillips wedding of 2025 went off without a hitch. And if she got everything she wanted, then your marriage is off on the right foot. So
it is on a good start. And then immediately sick, obviously, is how things go.
I think, like, I was dying. Like, I was supposed to come the day earlier, and I text you. I'm like, I got to sleep this off. Like, I cannot come early, because I will ruin this wedding. And a little bit of tequila, a little bit of whiskey, got my voice back to at least audible. And then we fired it up and we grinded through the weekend. It was great. And
there were a handful of people that were sick. So
to the DJ for giving us a 40-minute window of straight pop punk jam. And we were out there like white girls just rocking out.
Yeah, the DJ was good. He would have kept, like I told you, the next morning, we would have kept going with the pop punk, but Fran had to shut it down. I think Miss Murder by AFI was like a little too much. I was really hoping for the Silverstein there. That would have been the icing on the cake with Afterglow, but honestly, the DJ, and you know what I like about it too? The DJ read the room pretty well. Mr. Brightside back 3 times, that was all I asked for.
And you know,
it was good.
We're never going to have him on this pod, because it's just more fun for us to not ever let him on the pod. But shout out to our boy Dave DiDonato, who at around midnight, the groom, which is the man I'm currently talking to, went around and gave everybody 5-hour energy shots at midnight. And I immediately put mine down, and Dave just rocked it. But he was up by himself till about, 4 a.m. with his eyes just glued open because he's doing shots of 5-hour energy drink at, must have been midnight. But I left before him. I got a text about halfway, and he's like, I don't think I'm able to drive. He's like, I'm going to blow over. And I'm just like, oh boy, that's Jamie. That's the Phillips. That's the Phillips touch right there.
Dave, you know what? Dave, everyone doesn't know, Dave is the head strength coach at Hammer Strength Performance. That's in Bouge's building, and he can cut a rug, man. He can dance.
He can dance. He has got charisma. He oozes charisma. Like, he really does.
Yeah, it's impressive.
I said this story when we were sitting around the fires. Like, anytime I've gone out socially with Dave, that guy drinks me under the table. Like, he can go.
Except for the caffeine. I forget that caffeine hits everyone different. So for me, crushing a couple 5-hour energies at midnight doesn't do much. For other people, I guess it does. Anyways, that was a fun wedding.
He not only did he make it home safe, but I also forgot that I put 2 cases of beer and a case of Monster in his trunk and take it. So I'm using him as a beverage runner across the border so I don't have to pay duty. I texted him after. I'm like, hey, man, did you get across the border? Like, I completely forgot that I put all that alcohol in your car. He's like, I claimed it. They never pulled me over. So shout out to my drug smuggler, Dave, for bringing me some 45-cent Coors Lights across the borders and bringing me a 12-pack of Monsters for Weston's hockey tournament this weekend.
Yeah, those Monsters were clutch. Well, I do want to do that. I do want to use my parents' cottage at least once a summer to get the whole gang back together, because the bachelorette party was fun. The wedding was fun. It was all fun. But back to hockey. Interesting news, which we teased it a little bit, you and I talking about it, but I'm still really in the dark with it. The Greater Ontario Junior Hockey League, the GOJHL, or the Junior B League in Southern Ontario, I wouldn't even say arguably, I say it is the best Junior A League probably in the world, definitely in Canada and the United States. Junior B.
You said Junior A.
Did I say Junior? Sorry, Junior B League in the world. They are now officially affiliated with the OHL. And so for people like me who have no idea what that means, what does that mean, Derek?
Oh, this I kind of knew or heard some of this back in December, right when open borders and the NCAA rule came in. So I started kind of asking questions. So for those that don't know, the GOJHL, located in kind of southwestern Ontario, like Jamie says, easily the best Junior B league in the world. It's not even close. And primarily, they've been such a strong league because they, first of all, they pay. Like, they've been paying 20-year-old OHL guys to come back and play at Junior B for a long time. Like, let's not pull the rug over anybody's eyes. They pay, and you get good OHLers that come back and they go on runs in some of these richer teams, and it brings up the competitive nature of the league. So what happened now is when the CHL rule changed, the GOJ has always been trying to get Junior A status. So they've applied, I think, 6 or 7 years in a row. When the BCHL went rogue and they went outlaw league, the GOJ were going to do the same. They were going to take all the best teams, collect a couple from some other leagues, and go rogue as a Junior A outlaw league in Ontario, which would have rivaled the BCHL. This would have been horrible news for the OHL because that's where they put a lot of their prospects. Now, if you put a prospect in an outlaw league that's not part of Hockey Canada, you probably aren't able to go up and down between leagues. There would be some sort of suspension rule or however they want to do it. So this highly impacted the ability of the OHL to function with their prospects. So the rumor I heard was that the OHL were internally discussing just buying the league, making it the development league for the OHL, keeping it as junior B so that they didn't lose that Hockey Canada sanctioning. And then they had somewhere to put their prospects. In the OJHL, which is the junior A league in Ontario, sometimes you have to pay up to $8,000 to $10,000 to play in the league. So that is what happens when you. So as a team, you want your players being in the best position. So what ends up happening is the OHL and the GOJHL have now gotten partnership. They've become the official development league for the OHL, which from what I've heard, the big change is that any prospect for the OHL that's playing and placed in a junior B league, they're going to pay their league fees and they're going to pay all of their billet fees. So this is a really good way to keep that partnership, help the GOJHL, and still maintain that Hockey Canada sanction. Now, what's going to happen is because of all those OHL 19 and 20-year-olds now having access to the NCAA, the top half of the league is probably going to be a little bit weaker, and it's going to be more of a true development league. So that's why this partnership has now kind of just made so much more sense. And I'm going to keep ranting and rambling because Jamie's actually had to jump on a phone call. But what me and Jamie have talked a lot about is that with the CHL has also done something new this year where they have not given free access to their games to NCAA coaches, which they have done in the past. They've actually revoked a lot of those passes. So now if you're an NCAA assistant coach and you want to come and watch and scout a CHL hockey game, you have to just pay. So that's one thing that the OHL has done to try to mitigate losing the mass exodus to the NCAA. But a big thing they're going to have to do, they're going to have to figure out how to change things and be more appealing and change kind of the makeup of the league in order to keep having success and keep moving forward and still making the CHL the best development league to professional hockey, which is now going to be a very big challenge for them. So a couple of ideas and things, and when Jamie comes back is we can talk about is my idea. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever going to listen to this or if maybe there's internal talk, but this was just me spitballing the other day, was if they take their draft year from U16 and they drop it down 1 year, which they already do in the WHL. But if they take that down and instead they start allowing 15-year-olds to play in the OHL, that is going to keep those kids in that league longer. Right now, you get drafted at U16, so you can go play in the league at 16 years old. You play your 16-year-old. Your 17-year-old year is your NHL draft year. After that, there's a lot of guys, Gavin McKenna is one of them, that are now jumping ship and going. Jack Ivankovich is going to Michigan, are jumping ship and going to play NCAA. If you take that draft and you bump it down 1 year and you change the idea and makeup of the league as a little bit younger, you can still have those top-end guys in your system for 3 years where they're selling jerseys, they are marketing your marketing tools, they are making you money. And yes, they're probably still going to leave at 18, 19, but now instead of only having them for 2 seasons, you can have them for 3 seasons. So my idea would be you take your U16 draft, you bump it down to U15. Only go maybe 5 rounds. So you're still only drafting your top end guys. That's going to allow those guys that were late picks or late bloomers in the U16 draft to play U16, have a secondary U16 draft that is now instead of 15 rounds, you have 10 rounds, and you can just kind of get rid of the U18 draft and allow these guys to just sign as free agents. So I think that is one way that they can change kind of the operating identity of the league. Now, whether they do this or not, who knows? But this being a goalie podcast, we always talk about how these rules affect goaltenders. So I just went on a giant tirade about how much I don't like you, and that you're bringing.
I had one headphone in, so I heard that it was a pretty good conversation. But
It wasn't me
ranting. It was a conversation with yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm the only one smart enough to converse with myself, so.
Yes, and I have to keep the lights on, so I had to collect a little bit of credit card information on that call so I could pay the bills.
Okay. Did you hear what I was saying? Coming back, My idea is like I think the OHL and the Central CHL have to change if they want to keep having success and being profitable. Like you can't just go and throw money at Gavin McKenna like the NCAA did. Like they're giving almost $800,000. Like I can't see CHL teams being able to do that. So how do they continue to be profitable without just blowing their brains out with all this money getting thrown around? And my idea was to drop and allow 15-year-olds to play in major junior hockey.
Hey everyone, Jamie here. I just want to take a second to thank today's presenting sponsor. That's right, we do a presenting sponsor, the Goalie Glove Guy. Whether your glove is in need of a full break-in, replacement, a rebuild, or a total repair, they've got you covered. They specialize in making sure that your glove performs the way it should, smooth, responsive, and game ready. So if you have a glove that just doesn't feel right, send it their way. They'll turn your glove from bricks into butter. Just visit thegoaliegloveguy.com. All the links are linked below to order. Thanks again to the Goalie Glove Guy for sponsoring today's episode.
Yes, I've also heard that rumor, not even from other people, that might be the play, because those players are going to leave early. They're going to leave at 18. As soon as the best players are going to leave at 18 years old, as soon as they're done high school. So you can get them for 3 more years. You can profit off them for 3 more years, quote unquote, develop them for 3 more years, but call it business as it is, profit off them for 3 more years. And then they'll jump ship, because they're all those big football schools just use football money to pay those players. Unfortunately, I don't think the North Bay Battalion have Big Ten football money to pay their players. So you are right. Now, what does that do with going into the GOJ being that development feeder league? Does that become younger, or does that just stay status quo where that's also 15 to 21 now?
That league's got to get younger, right? If they're going to be that primary development league for the OHL, it's going to have to be younger, because what's going to happen is when all of those 19, 20-year-olds leave the OHL, now whether the OHL just eliminates 20-year-olds altogether, which I don't think they can do, because you still need 20-year-olds to babysit your 15-year-olds.
Yeah.
Right. And you need those men, quote unquote, men and man strength and IQ to help develop the young guys. But you're going to get those better 20-year-olds going to college. They're going to go play NCAA. So those 20-year-olds that used to come down and play in the GOJ and make some good money and contribute to winning teams, those guys will still have decent OHL opportunities.
True.
Because second tier 20-year-old, right? So I think the GOJ just naturally is going to get younger.
So I've had this similar conversation where I originally thought that junior A, tier 2 junior A, I guess, maybe tier 3, but mostly tier 2 junior A across the board was going to get younger. It still might, but right now it's gotten older. And with this change, and now what's happening is a lot of Americans it's bubble major junior or Canadians and Americans are going to play in the Null and even on NCDC, I guess, in order for more scholarship opportunities. So they get more playing time. They're in the States, more eyeballs on them, because that's just the things I've been hearing. Because I've had one of my forwards got cut because they got a guy from the Dub to go down and play in the Null in the South Division. He left his team, or he was released from his team, instead of playing in the BCHL, went to the Null. One of my goalies, same thing. There was a goalie that chose to leave the AJ to go play NCDC, which I think is a step down, but technically it's an equal level move. So what we're seeing is a lot more Canadians are now more receptive to going and playing tier 2 in the United States. And it's shaking everything up and making everything difficult. But a lot of these Null teams have gone older. And I was not expecting that. I thought Major Junior was going to get slightly older, because the top dogs would leave to go to college. It would open up more spots for 19, 20, 21-year-olds that want to go to college to play at the best possible level, turning the Null, the BC, the AJ, NCDC into feeders, or the GOJ now into feeders for major junior, but that doesn't seem to be happening. Or if it is going to happen, it's not yet. And I was not expecting the current trajectory of older players.
Yeah, we're learning on the fly. Like, it's wild. Like, for 10 years we had everything figured out. We had the plans. Right now it's like, pull a name out of the hat and you go play in that league. And
Yeah,
we'll figure it out as we go. But right now it's constantly changing. And it's
crazy that you got to draft. Like, I'm thinking about our U14 kids. Like, I know in the dub it happens in the WHL, but man, like, that's wild to think those kids, they're U15 year, or they're in Canada, they're minor midget, or I guess technically be U16 year. Skip that and go right to major junior, or go right to junior and junior A, junior B, whatever they're going to classify that. I mean, I guess if you're good, you're good, but like, wild to think about everything getting shifted earlier.
there's always been like outliers. Like, remember Austin Matthews went and played in Switzerland?
Yeah.
Like, guys kind of find alternate routes. And I mean, I think that's one thing that all these new rule changes have created. It was like, you can be a little bit more creative in the route you take now. It's not so streamlined, but I mean, it's tougher for us. Like, so I just got off the ice with a girl who's playing U15A in Ontario. And it is September 18th. And she is already panicking about where she's going to play next year. She already emailed, because in girls hockey, they've announced the coaches for 26, 27. She's already emailed 2 different coaches trying to find spots for next year. She hasn't even played a regular season game yet.
I think we've talked about this. Girls hockey, especially in Canada, Ontario, is insane in that degree.
But like these associations.
But that's open borders. That's open borders. Like, that's what open borders is going to do to the boys.
Well, this is what I was saying to the mother is, I think I very carefully want to not get myself in trouble here. I'm going to tread lightly, which I never do. But
you never do, yeah.
If I'm coaching, so like next year, I'm going to be coaching AAA. If I'm coaching AAA next year and I'm going to watch players and it's September 25th, I am not committing to a player in September for next season. I'm not doing it. Maybe that's because I have experience. Maybe it's because I think it's insane. But there's no way that I'm going to commit to a player September 25th or 26, 27. But the girls' coaches are doing this. So, like, I don't know if this is because the makeup or the mindset of the coaches that are coaching boys hockey is different than the girls hockey, or if the system of open borders hasn't happened yet. But I don't care what that system is. I'm not committing to a player in September for fall of 26 when they're minor hockey. Like, I get how colleges do it because you're looking at 18, 19-year-olds, 17, 18, 19-year-olds. This is a 12-year-old girl. It's cuckoo bananas. Tell me.
There's so much development no, you're not. There's so much development that takes place. And the best player, like, they're kids that are the best players. They're going to be the best. But like, for the other 99%, like, so much development, so much growth, physically, mentally, maturity wise, is going to take place that it's just actually insane. It's stupid. It's dumb. Like, I don't have to tread lightly because I'm out in Ontario. It's dumb. It's very dumb.
And it's crazy.
Like, it's almost irresponsible because, like, especially as a coach, let's say you commit a girl that's, does well in the first month of September, and then 10 other girls, go through puberty, and all of a sudden they're super fast on the ice, they're ripping pucks. You're going to have to cut that girl you committed to because someone else is better.
Or you've lied, a mistake.
Or you lie.
This girl that I'm talking about, she has been skating with me since, I'm going to say May. The progress this girl's made since May is insanity. So, like, I have here, like, everybody knows, like, Charlotte Payne is, like, that's my standard. And she's a for sure NCAA Delaware, played D1. She's incredible. She's like the most perfect goalie that I've ever built. And everybody who trains here is sick of hearing about her because I'm always like, look what Charlotte's doing. Look what Charlotte's doing. Do this, do this. And like some of my like elite boys can't stand her name because they know like she's the favorite. This girl that I just started working with is going to surpass her. I'm 100% confident of that. And she's now trying to find a spot for next year because she's playing U15A because she was an A goalie at this time last year. And her trajectory was like this. It's incredible. I got halfway through my lesson today and I started laughing because I'm just like, this girl's incredible. So if there's any U15 AA coaches out there in Ontario that need a goalie because this girl is a stud, and if you miss out on her, you're out of your mind. And yeah, it is September 15th. And I mean, I wouldn't sign her on September 15th, but all you guys that are coaching girls hockey will. So call me up. I got a goalie for you.
Oh man, minor hockey. Going back to junior, is the USHL, as the kids say, hooked? What's the stat? Like this season was it's so far 30 to 60 players opted not to go to the USHL to go to major junior. The USHL is going to have to make some changes if they are going to truly be this. I thought up until last year, I still would put my money on saying the USHL overall is better than the major junior, like just team by team basis. Now I think that's going to drop this year, and going to drop next year, and going to drop next year. The USHL is going to have to. The USHL is going to have to join major junior. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. Or they're going to have to openly pay their players if they want to compete with major junior, because all the top talent is not going to the USHL.
Okay, so let me ask you this. And this is just, we're just spitballing here. If the CHL, which I don't even know if this is what I heard, but let's just see what it looks like in our brains. Hypothetical game. If the CHL said to USA Hockey, we will let you enter your U18 and your U17 teams into one of the CHL leagues, would the USHL no longer exist?
If the program left, the USHL would crumble. The USHL was the best tier 1 junior league to get to college easily. And even last year still was the best league overall. I mean, I would have put Muskegon Lumberjacks up against the London Knights, and it would have been you said 7-game series goes to 7 games every time. The USHL exists for the program. That's kind of the USNTDP program, the 17s and the 18s. That's kind of the quiet, the secret, the open secret, where the other junior teams exist to be profitable junior organizations, to get players to college, to have those small towns like Muskegon and like Waterloo, Iowa, and Dubuque, Iowa, to have junior hockey at a high level. The program is whatever the program is going to want, the program is going to get when it comes to things and rules and stuff like that. Let me say, be politically correct as best as I can, where it exists so that the program has a place to play and at a high level to develop the top American talent for the international stage. If Hockey Canada brings in the 17s and 18s,
it's no secret. Jamie, does the same thing with the CHL. There's no different. Like,
sure,
they absolutely should operate like that. If that is the purpose, is to win international tournaments, they've developed a program to do that. And Hockey Canada has done the same thing with the CHL. Now, I would argue that the way the US does it is probably better in terms of going to tournaments and winning, because there is more consistency and continuity through playing together more often, where we just have a summer camp and we pick a team and then they all go play somewhere else. And then they come back together for 2 weeks. And it's like, you have to go win now. Like, why they shouldn't have to.
I'm trying to stop myself because I've seen behind the curtain a little bit, and I'm trying not to say things out loud. But yes, it exists for the USHL. So if those teams left, what I guess would happen is the rest of the USHL would be like, all right, we're out. And then there would be legal battles about, just like Youngstown and Muskegon trying to leave last year and USA Hockey blocking it. there would be legal battles about teams leaving, but all those teams that would potentially want to join Major Junior, like you would see Muskegon, Youngstown, probably even Chicago, join the OHL. You would see teams like Fargo, maybe Dubuque. Some of those Western teams join the Dub, and then I don't know what would really happen to the Q. No one's really that close, but those teams would just immediately leave. So in my mind, the hypothetical way I'd see it is that there becomes a fourth arm of Major Junior, and that is the USHL. So those American Dub teams, American OHL teams, and next year when Lewiston joins the league again, they become their own division of hockey sorry, the USHL, which is part of Major Junior. They play each other. The Memorial Cup then puts 5 teams together. And so Wenatchee, Everett, Spokane, they're all in the same loop as Muskegon, which in Lewiston, as in Chicago, as in Des Moines. There's the American division. And you could even go as further as saying you could split up the USHL into 2, East and a West. You can engulf some of the more successful NA teams to round out the teams. And so you have their East and your West. The Midwest gets split up into 2 because there are teams down like Lone Star and Corpus Christi that have very good fan base, have a lot of money. There's a couple of teams in the East that are very good, produce a lot of talent, would join, and then they create another league, which would then they'd all play for some sort of Memorial Cup. But it's really the only way outside of the USHL just changing all their rules, which they haven't yet, which is crazy, in order to draw players. Because the USHL doesn't allow you can't sign an entry-level deal from the USHL. It's dumb. You can't. The league has existed to push players to college. And until last November, it was the best at it. Now it's no longer the best at it. And while players are getting paid under the table, the only way they're not getting as paid as much as a lot of the major junior teams are paying players under the table. So it's wild. Super wild. I don't know, but that's how I see it happening.
I also cringe, and it pisses me off every time we talk about the USHL being the best at getting kids to college. Yeah, okay, that's true, but it's also not apples to apples. You have all these American kids that are getting college gigs from the USHL that won't go to Canadian kids because they have to pay more, and in-state tuition is significantly less. And all the best Canadians were playing in the CHL where they were ineligible. It's not apples to apples. So it's easy to boast and say, our league is the best at sending kids to our colleges. No shit. The USHL is the best at sending kids to US college. Congratulations, Jamie. You guys.
Well, to be fair, most of the kids get their scholarships before they go to the league. So I don't even know if it's the best it's not even the best league to get a scholarship in. It's the best league
is the best at putting kids into Canadian universities. No,
that's kind of the equivalent.
Don't get off your high horse, drinking with your pinky in the air and counting your millions, because you guys have developed the best Americans to American colleges.
Yeah, well, not anymore. So it's going to be interesting. And the USHL moves slow, very slow, because I know that some high ups in the USHL that didn't think this rule was going to go through. And I could have told you 4 years ago when in college we were already discussing the possible changes. It moved slow because there was no contingency plan to adjust for this other than we're going to make transfer fees incredibly high so that we can't lose players immediately. And so now those players are just choosing to leave. And yeah, and then what's happening, like I think we've talked about before, is the younger players, there's more options to play major junior. And so you're having young players, their agents are saying, well, either sign my kid for the USHL or we're going to major junior. And a lot of these kids are not ready for the high skill of the USHL, or at least last year, and so they're leaving to major junior. And then you can't get them back once they make that decision because you don't want to pay the $50,000 transfer fee or whatever it would be. So it's crazy. It's weird.
And
I've
now
been telling my players, just go to the O.
And now the NCAA is just pillaging all those kids. Like you got Brandon Naruto just going on social media saying, if you play in the CHL, come to Michigan.
Yep. And then the small schools are getting pillaged by the big schools because of the transfer portal. The good news is the small schools basically have an all-you-can-eat buffet from major junior now, where all those players just want to get to college so they can get to college, and then they can immediately transfer to the bigger schools after they pop off after a year at the smaller school. So it's a revolving door of stuff. One of the things I don't love about all that rule is like the adversity, like battling through adversity part of it. I had one of my athletes go to a school, and then they had picked up a kid from the portal, and he was still in junior at the time. He's like, I got to decommit. He's like, I got to decommit. I can't go there. I'm like, why don't? Well, one, I think you're better. Two, like, just go and battle. Like, go and battle for a year. He's like, no. He's like, no, I can't go in. They're already bringing a starter. And so all these kids, like a lot of these guys, like we'll see, like, okay, players getting we committed a goalie, I'm transferring. Oh, we got a transfer goalie, I'm transferring. We committed a transfer forward, I'm leaving. Or I was on the second power play, I'm leaving. And it's just like, well, yes, I get you have the opportunity to do that. And to be fair, I probably would have did the same thing too. But when you get to pro, which is where everyone wants to go, you don't have that luxury. And you got to figure things out real quick. And if you're used to playing, if you play in 4 NCAA teams in 4 years, and all of a sudden you're in the American League or in the East Coast, someone says, "Hey, you got to play second line PP. I need you killing penalties," and you're like, "I don't want to do that. That's not my game." You're gonna be out of the league real fast. And there is something to say about being able to kind of eat poop for a little bit and maybe not do what, like, maybe if you think you're a goal scorer, learn how to block shots, kill penalties, learn how to be patient, learn how to be a healthy scratch, like all that stuff. So I don't know. It's interesting to see.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. It's gonna get worse before it gets better in terms of like it's gonna become more wild before rules come in. Because eventually there's gonna be a tipping point where you're like, okay, we can't just have every player, like I said, every player making this amount of money with no salary cap and losing all these things and transferring like crazy and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Eventually they're going to start to add in rules, but you need to keep breaking down all the older rules before you can add new ones, which means for at least the next 5 years, our job as coaches and mentors for a lot of these young kids is going to be a nightmare. Just a nightmare. I had to tell a kid today, this morning, one of the players, I'm like, I actually I need you to not play in the null. Like you're a forward. I need you to like go to USHL or major junior and not play in the null because the null is going to be a D3 league. And if you want to play D1, I need you. Maybe you play a year in the null when you're 18. You got to get to major junior. And it's just like that's such a weird statement because before I'd be like, yeah, just get to the null, get to the BC, tear it up, do well, you'll get a scholarship. Not anymore.
I just thought of this too. Is if you're a young goalie and before you were like at 16 and 17 and you're trying to go play college hockey, perfect examples like you were at 16, right? You're willing to accept the backup role. You're willing to go in, play behind a veteran guy, learn from them, get maybe 8 to 12 starts, do all your development and practice, and just grow. Now, if you want to go to college, you got to get to the OHL. So you can't waste those years as backup anymore. Because at 17, you got to be a starter playing 40 games somewhere. Because if you're not in the OHL 18 or 19 now, like you're not going to play college hockey. So like that path for a goalie where you could be more patient and learn from a veteran like you did, and you're at 60, you played 8 games, you step behind a guy who played 3 years in the OHL, you learned lots of stuff. You were able to step in at 17 and you kind of you went there and kicked the door down. But like, there's guys right now that I have that are 17 playing junior B where like this is a make or break year now. Like 17 was never a make or break year to play college hockey. 17 was
No.
still very much a development year where it was like, okay, by 19, we want you playing junior A, tier 2 junior A, and then 20 tier 2 junior A because goalies are going to get picked up at 19 and 20. Now you got to be in the OHL at 19 or 20. Like it's really kind of
it creates a crazy logjam for a couple of reasons. The only way that it wouldn't create a logjam is if all these major junior goalies choose to be like Ivan Kovic and go to school as like true freshmen or like 19-year-olds, which we've talked about before. Did we talk about it on the pod? Or was that just a group chat? Where we don't think it's a good idea for goalies to go to college that early.
I think it's if Jack
yeah,
wouldn't be going.
Yeah. I don't know. Remember if we talked about this on a pod or if this was in our goalie group chat, our goalie coaches group chat, where we when it comes to development for goalies specifically, players is a little different, but for goalies, the game time is the most valuable time. So like choosing to play in major junior, or it just says major junior versus college, major junior, and play 60 games for 2 or 3 years versus playing 20 games in college is a huge difference in development for your goaltending abilities. Like we're forgetting about physical development, which is why a lot of players are choosing to leave. So like Ivan Kovic I don't know how he'll do. I'm assuming he's going to start. My guy Peck is there too, who I think is better. But let's just say they split 50-50. He might get 22 games at the high end of the 50-50 split, 22 games versus playing 65 in a major junior. Like that's like 3 years comparison of development time. So if goalies have that mindset in major junior where they're like, you know what, I'm going to play till I'm 20, I'm going to get a ton of games, and then I'm going to go to ASU and get 50K a year and party my face off and have a great time. That log jam for, like you said, the 17-year-olds who are playing tier 2 and junior B it's gonna build up because there's no spots open. You're not opening up tier 1 spots for these young kids or these young-ish kids to get opportunities. So unless those kids leave, goalies in the major junior league early, or the ones that are not studs get cut, or every team carries 3 goalies, I don't know how those fringe players are going to get to Division 1. I just don't know how they're going to get to Division 1, assuming that teams don't continue to recruit at a tier 2. For goalies, I still think tier 2, like the Null, BC and stuff, and the AJ will still commit goalies just because like there's just only 2 spots a roster. For the players, it's going to be almost impossible. But I think you'll also see a lot more kids go D3 and then transfer from D3 to D1, especially on the goaltending side.
The other thing, like we talk about, like USA Hockey, Hockey Canada, and before when you bailed on me and I had to carry the podcast on my shoulders by myself, we were talking about things that Hockey Canada or the CHL have to change. It's going to be very interesting to see this year with the World Junior team. You got Jack Ivan Kovic, who left Hockey Canada, went to go play NCAA, was on the World Junior team last year. Do they, as Hockey Canada, say, if you leave our system and you go play college hockey, you cannot play on the World Junior team? So that would mean that Jack, who played last year as a 17-year-old, would not be on the team this year as an 18-year-old. Now, Carter George, who was the number 1 goalie last year, he'll be able to return. But they also had Canadian goalies drafted ahead of Jack in the draft that they could easily just slide into that second spot and say, sorry, you want to go play Michigan? You want to go play in the U.S.? You're not playing on our World Junior team. And if they start making that stand across the board to some of these guys that have left, Gavin McKenna, some of the other guys that have left Hockey Canada to go play in the States, and they say you're not playing on a World Junior team unless you're playing in the CHL. What do you think? Would you do it? I mean, with Jack, I would, because to me, Carter George is the number 1 goalie anyway. So you make your stand right now.
I think they will make that stand next year because if Gavin McKenna is too good, if they didn't bring, you know how crazy the Canadian hockey world would get if they didn't bring Gavin McKenna there. Jack Ivankovich, I don't even think he's the second best Canadian goalie at that age. So
He was
I don't think that
last year, right? That's what I mean. The precedent is
they took him last year, but like, yes, but I think if they are going to set the precedent, they, as a business, if I was the commissioner of Major Junior or one of the commissioners of the leagues, I would set that precedent now and be like, yes, absolutely. We set that. That way we can retain our talent until they're at least 19, 20. And then let the kids decide they want to play World Juniors or they want to go get paid. They have to hold their ground, which means there's a chance that Canada doesn't win for quite some time because they're going to, if they're maybe, there's a chance. There's a chance. It's a possibility.
Okay. Now, let's say, sorry, Jack, you're not coming. Sorry, Gavin McKenna, you're not coming. Last year, they didn't take some of the best players that they had available, and they didn't win. If they say, we're not taking McKenna, we're not taking Jack, and then they win, does anybody care?
No, no one cares.
No. If they go there and they don't win, that's a different story. But you're making those choices before.
I think that those leagues, in order to maintain integrity, I would say integrity, I don't know. In order to maintain their best players to keep running a high profitable business, they need to make a stand. And I think that is, I don't think that's an unrealistic thing and a rule to change. That is already, like, they've already done that in the past, especially they'd make exceptions for, like, you know, guys like Jonathan Taves who would go to, you know, North Dakota, but very rarely would you ever see college players. It was only in the last like 5-10 years would they start to add in more and more college players. So it's not like they haven't done it before. Yeah, I think they have to. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it not this year. I think they will do it next year because they want to win. Canada hasn't won and they didn't win last year, so everyone was mad because they left off their best players. So what they'll do is they'll do it this year. I actually don't think Ivankovich will make it, but I think they'll put it on the team with Gavin McKenna and a couple of those other players whose names I don't know, but apparently are really good and went to college. They'll make the team. Hopefully they win, and then they'll set that precedent.
Well, tell me a time where a goalie was on the team as a 17-year-old and then got cut as an 18. Because they go, the one thing with Hockey Canada, when they pick these teams, is they go so much based off of pedigree and the past. And Jack would have been in U18, then he was on the World Junior team. If they don't bring him back, that's going against what they've always done. But I think they should. What's his name? The guy out of Portland there who was the first goalie drafted. I think he was better than Ravensburg at Prince George. Sorry, I think he's so good. Like I thought he was awesome, but like I don't. It depends. I guess they're never not going to take McKenna. I don't think that they're not going to take McKenna, but they could not take some other players as a teaser to that rule. Like people will be upset. People will guys like you and I and TSN obviously are on the same level. We'll talk about these changes and these snubs, and then they come into the full blown next year for the 2026 or 2027, whatever it would be, World Juniors, and be like, yeah, if you go to college, we're not taking you straight up, or you're not allowed. Hockey Canada says you're not allowed. And man, if Canada takes Jack and Gavin McKenna after they're being pillaged, and they've made this rule change where they're no longer allowing NCAA coaches into the building for free, and they know that they are at war to try to keep their players. If they don't take a stand and say, if you want to play on our World Junior team, you got to stay and you got to play in our system so we can develop you. If they don't do that, they're a bunch of pussies. Absolutely a bunch of pussies. I don't like this is.
I would agree. Oh yeah, I would agree 100% that.
Just because you take Gavin does not guarantee you're going to win anyway.
No, but I think it actually is the best case Ontario for Major Junior to do that, because if they lose, they can say, well, people will be like, well, we didn't take our best players. And if they win, they could say, we have the best players. it's honestly like a win-win for Hockey Canada in that sense of saying like we set the standard but and then it also protects them from the fact like Gab, let's just say this rule was in place 3 months ago and Gavin McKenna still went to Penn State. People will be mad at Gavin McKenna for not playing for his country and just chasing the money.
Correct.
And so Hockey Canada wins all day. I would also take basically $1 million to go play. Like that's I'm a proud Canadian, like through and through, but also like $1 million is a lot of money.
Yeah, Gavin McKenna is not the perfect example of what we're talking about. Because, like, yeah, you're right. Like, the World Juniors to him may not be a thing because he's thinking NHL. I get that.
Let's just say Ivan Kovic, for example. Let's just say Ivan Kovic NIL's $50K.
That's what we've talked about is like they never asked me. That's cool. But if that's my kid and I'm trying to put my kid in the best position to have success, he can play one more year in the CHL and then Michigan is not going to say no to him after that. It was not the right move for a kid who's 18 years old, in my opinion. We'll find out in 10 years, right? When he comes in the
yeah
28. But at 18 years old, I think playing 60 games and playing in the OHL and going to the World Juniors have more value to him than going to play Michigan. Everyone's like, "Wow, it's Michigan." Yeah, and you don't think Michigan is there next year? If he's that good, Michigan is always there.
Yeah. The idea that, it's Michigan or, it's Penn State or, it's in terms of actual development, it's whether you go to like, obviously I'm going to defend my own school, but whether you go to Michigan Tech or Michigan, the development is still there. The amenities are very different. Like the amenities and money you get are very different. But like playing college hockey, you are going to get good regardless of whether you are in Michigan, whether you're on ASU, or you are on Ferris State, a very, very small school. If you're a good player and you are willing to put in the time on the ice and off the ice, you are going to become a better player. Are you going to be able to have the experience at Ferris State that you would at the University of Michigan? Probably not. And I know like that for a lot of kids, like that's the choice. I still probably would have. Actually, no, I chose to go to Michigan Tech, so I probably would have made that decision. But I don't know. It's super weird. From the goalie side, we're a goalie podcast. Play games. Games are really important. Practices are important, but if you had the choice between 100 practices and 100 games, please take 100 games. It's just the reality of it. Or 100 practices and 50 games. It'd still take 50 games. It's the best way to develop that way. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm kind of glad I'm not a goalie in this day and age because I would have had to peak at 16, 17 versus peaking much later in my career, which is what I did, especially the junior side, because it's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard.
I'm interested.
I
What a time to be.
I don't have much to add. What's up?
What a time to be alive.
No, everything is upside down for the hockey world. Do you have any this episode again? You probably if you made it all the way to the end, thank you, and you would have heard the ad from our presenting sponsor, the Goalie Glove Guy. Go check him out. Check him out. Check out this website. It's gonna be linked in the description. Go make sure that if you have gloves that need repairs or broken in, send them to him. Devin's awesome. Very good at what he does. A lot of my goalies have sent their gloves there even before he sponsored the podcast, and they've all been ecstatic and super happy with how everything has turned out. Before we get into that, or after we get into that, I can't speak today. Boosh, what's your parting shot?
My God, I think you're having a stroke.
I was gonna say, I'm just trying to kill time so that this episode is like over an hour and people want to listen. What's your parting shot?
My parting to us is that we have to be better at doing this podcast more consistently. It is now hockey season, so I feel like we have no excuses not to come on here and talk goalies. And in the summer was tough because you are important and we're building a gym, which looks unreal, by the way. And, had to get married. So you had a lot on your plate, but your plate is now empty. So you need to do better at making sure that we podcast.
Correct. The plate is definitely not empty, but I do have time during the day and your kids are in school. And that also was an issue when you have to be a dad instead of being a podcaster. My parting shot, I'm going to shout out, you guys at the gym. I'm going to shout out my head coach, Ben Vucci, is very good. He's blowing me away in terms of how good of a strength coach he's been. And all of our athletes, even in the last 3 weeks, the movement's better, everything's better. They're looking more athletic. The feedback's been great. So shout out Ben, former goalie, played at Northern Indiana ACHA. He's an unbelievable strength coach. He worked a little bit with the Blackhawks. He was in the Chicagoland area with AAA teams, so he's very good. And also, I'm gonna plug it. But if you would like to follow his programming for the in-season to get stronger, faster, more explosive, it's through the Ghost Rehab and Performance site. Ben's in charge of programming it. Ben and I sit down each week. We look at the program. We design it. It's excellent. It's linked below. I think it's $50 a month, and you get unlimited access to Ben and myself through the private Discord, ask questions. But we have all of our athletes here are on it, and we have a bunch of athletes around the world that are on it too, and feedback has been great. So that's my shameless plug and parting shot.
And anybody wants to behind the scenes from the Phillips wedding, my voice dropping, it actually did drop already, and I deleted it because Dave told me it wasn't good enough. So I took it down. You saw it at all. So if you got,
we should have got those the meta glasses and just wore them all weekend.
So I had I put it up. I tagged you in the story, so you would have seen like not available. It's because Dave goes, "This isn't good enough. You got to redo it." So that's the rest of my afternoon. And next week I am giving away a pair of Bauer Connect HF3s, which I think are the best skate ever made. I prefer the HF3s over the Connect 2s, but that's just me. Still non-sponsored Bauer coach, so that's cool. I'm going to start pumping Warrior. Yeah. And other than that, good luck to all of my goalies that start their early bird tournaments tomorrow. So next week, I'll have an update on how many championships we won this weekend. Pretty
sure the best goalie skate was, what was it, the Graph G50 or the Goaler Pro? The Goaler Pro. Heaviest skate, but boy, did that thing take the goalie world over by storm back in the day.
I think the Mafia bought shares in those because they're like bricks. So they just put those on guys' feet and then drop them. Boom, straight to the bottom of the ocean.
Never to be found. All right, on that morbid note, thanks for listening, watching. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever podcast, give us a 5-star review. Everyone says to remind people to do that because apparently it's very good for the algorithm. But the biggest thing for us is if you enjoy this, tell another goalie parent, hockey parent, another athlete about it, because that's what we're trying to do, is to reach as many athletes and parents as possible to help give them kind of important hockey information and some fun stories. So until the next wedding, Boosh, I'll talk to you soon.